And we are on. Good morning, everyone. And we are on with our wrap up this morning. So this week we have been doing Conversations Week as we get geared up and as we're excited to prepare for Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro on the 27th of May. So it is our second anniversary and we are just excited as we continue to plan. So this morning I have been charged with chatting with you about employee engagement and performance. How do we improve employee engagement and performance? Now, these are definitely challenging times, no doubt about it. Everything is so uncertain, even as we go back out to work for some of us, even as we prepare to go back out to work. How do we engage our employees? How do we set up our work environment so that employees feel safe? And, since when this COVID episode began, as I like to call it, since COVID began, leaders, managers, supervisors would have seen a dip in sales for most industries, a dip in sales, a dip in morale, a dip in performance, all those metrics that we need to look at for a successful organization, for successful first quarter, 6 months, a successful financial year. And, at this time, and I'm talking directly to leaders here, and I'm talking to the leaders, whether you are in a non-profit, whether you're in an association, whether you are a for-profit organization, whether you are an even faith-based organization, whether you're in a financial, in an educational institution, you are a leader. And therefore, I say this period, this COVID period that we're in, is going to filter out the leaders from the managers, from the CEOs. And by that, I mean that we have to show up as leaders. We have to show up and use our human kindness now that we're dealing with our employees, with our team, our heads of departments. So it's critical that we focus not only on the operations, but also on our team. Now, I've been chatting with you for the whole week, and like I said, this is my segment this morning, but just for those who haven't met me before, haven't been following me, or haven't interacted on social media, I am Charlene Pedro. I am the CEO of Conventus Consulting. And at Conventus, we like to pride ourselves in building deep relationships with our clients. What we actually do is we tackle our clients' problems, their people problems, their profitability problems. And we do that by designing and delivering customized employee engagement training programs and leadership programs. We also revise and design performance management systems. So we look at profits, we look at people, and we look at performance. So today is an exciting day, as I said, for us, because we also have our signature event, which is Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro, and that's coming up on the 27th. So this week, we have been giving you a sneak peek of what's to come on the 27th. So we looked at, Janice Sutherland. She was on earlier this week, and Janice shared with us how this is a time where leaders are a bit confused, even as they get ready to go back to work. And Janet will be sharing on her special program, which is Plan, Pivot, Profit. And she will be announcing a series of free webinars as an intro to that program. And she'll be doing that announcement on the 27th of May at Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro. We also had Francis Wade, the productivity and strategy expert. And Francis shared with us the assumptions that we make when we're planning that may no longer hold true now. And how could we shift our mindset so that we can even look at the opportunities, even using technology as an opportunity to pivot, and that word we're using a lot now, pivot. And really look at our plans we made before and how we can now amend those plans given the information that we have now. But the thing is that we don't know what's going to happen next month. As a matter of fact, we don't know what's going to happen next week. but we can plan the extent that we have some information and we still have people to take care of. We still have our team who is looking at us for some measure of direction. We may not have all the answers, but in coming together, I have found in coming together, in having conversations with my colleagues, that I find that we come up with such rich solutions to questions I may have. So this coming together on the 27th for Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro, this is really an opportunity to hear a different perspective, to connect, because we're also going to have a networking segment. And yes, you're going to connect online. You'll be able to exchange your virtual, let's say, business cards using LinkedIn. So you will have a fantastic opportunity to network and make some connections on the 27th of May. So for the 27th of May, we are also giving you some bonuses, but I'm going to tell you that a little bit after. So let's go back to that employee engagement. Now, we know on the top of our heads what employee engagement is. It's really bringing your whole self. I call it the whole self to work. It's a psychological engagement. And we'll be delving a little bit more on that on the 27th. But I just want to give you 2 pointers now this morning in the short time that we have. And one of those things will be to just 2 C's I'm going to give you this morning. And, you know, like I said, your employees, your team, so it may be a team even in a school, and I say NGO, because I want us to recognize that leaders are everywhere. You know, we think about the Fortune 500, we think about the big local conglomerates, but I want us to recognize that leaders are in any industry where they have the opportunity to influence and make a change and make a difference. So I draw in the NGOs, I draw in the faith-based organizations, I draw in the educational institutions, the schools, the principals, the head of departments. So everything we share can be applied no matter what type of organization you're in, because you're still a leader and someone is still looking to you for directions, not necessarily the answers, because we all understand that this is, you know, it's uncharted waters that we're all just tipping our toes in to see how deep it is. So I think people understand that. So we don't have to have all the answers, but surely we can give a sense of direction. We can give a sense of comfort, and we can find the answers or find some sense of direction when we come together and we discuss and we share ideas. So the 2 tips I want to give you this morning is, 1, simple C, check-in. Check in with your people if you have people working remotely or even if they have gone back to the office. Now, particularly remotely, you know, we may have sent people home to work and probably a while now, yes, maybe a month, even more than a month. And, you know, we assume that they have all the tools or that they're using the tools as they should. We assume that everything is okay. And, you know, now is a good time, you know, it's never a bad time to check in. So although you may have had your team home for a while, now is a good time to check in. We have been, you know, at home for a month. How are you doing? How are you doing with your tools? Do you know how to use it properly? If you're using Teams, you know, do you know how to use it to its fullest? Are you using the technology to fullest? Now, some people may not, somebody on your team may not be so vocal to come out and say they're having some challenges and they may just be chugging around, which may be kind of frustrated. So we don't want to add frustration to the mix. So do check in with your people and see if they have everything that they need so that they can do, you know, a good job given the circumstances. So the second C I want to share with you is communication. Communicate a bit more. You know, I know that sometimes, well, most times, that, you know, as managers, supervisors, CEOs, principals, head of departments, team leads, you know, we bring our own style to how we operate, you know, on the ground, at work, in the office. And that style sometimes may not be the best approach at this time. We have to examine the situation, examine the context, and see what is the best way that we can reach our people. What's the best way we can communicate with our team? And that is the way, that is the approach we should take. It's not so much that you are putting aside your personality, but your personality, you're not overriding what is required with your personality. I say our personality adds flavor to our leadership style. Our personality is not our leadership style. Our leadership style is what connects, will engage, and will support the employee and help them move forward, help them make some progress. That is the adaptive, supportive leadership style. So our personalities will add flavor. So surely now is the best time to reach out again to your people, communicate a little bit more. And when I say communication, and this is tying back to engagement, because to engage your employees, to engage people on your team, you must communicate, and you must communicate in such a way so that they feel valued. I always say when we ask somebody for feedback or when somebody gives their opinion, we must always accept it as being valued and valid. Everybody's opinion is valued and valid. So you want to reach out and hear what they have to say. And I'm not talking about reaching out and, saying that report is due, how are you going, or that report is late, what's happening. That's not the communication I'm talking about. The communication I'm speaking about is the human to human communication. Communication that will allow you to tap into their needs and their wants. And it's a simple question, the how are you doing? And they may say, fine, delve a little deeper, how can I support you? What else do you need from me? So that's why we're here. That's why we have the role of leader. That's why people are on our team and look for us for direction. So it's very important that we up our communication game. And, if you are uncomfortable, reach out to a mentor, reach out to a colleague, get some tips. You can get a coach during this period. Now is the time for leaders to show up. Now is not the time to be focusing on work only and focusing on re-strategizing, reviewing, revitalizing the organization, re-strategizing. All those things are necessary. But unless you have somebody to shovel up those coals and put the coals in the engine for the train to go, your train wouldn't go nowhere. So it doesn't make sense, checking with the engineer and making sure that the train can go and there's nobody shoveling up the coals. So check it in your team, make sure that they're okay. And when you communicate, make sure it's a human-to-human communication. So that's your 2 tips in terms of employee engagement. And the thing is, when we engage our people, think about yourself. If you are not engaged in anything that you're doing, there's no way you're going to do your best, whatever it may be, even your hobby. And it's the same thing when we think about work. It's the same thing when we think about our office, people in our office. If people are not engaged, you cannot get the best in terms of performance. So that's why engagement and performance go hand in hand. You could have the best systems. You could have the best performance management system. You will only get what is required for most of the organization. Surely there are some who will deliver their best no matter what context, because that is who they are. That is what their mother, their parents taught them, and they're going to do their best no matter what. But everybody's not the same. What about those who need the encouragement? What about people who need a word of you're doing good? How could I help you? What about those people? So employee engagement and employee performance go hand in hand. We cannot have one without the other. And this is something that we will be delving in a bit more in the psychological engagement of employees. When you understand the psychological engagement, then you know what to do to engage your people. When you engage your people, you improve performance. So as much as we are in this time of what I call the COVID episode, everybody knows I've been calling it the episode like it's a flick on Netflix, and I hope this is a short series. So while we're in this COVID episode, there are so many opportunities for us as leaders. Every crisis brings with it opportunity. So this now is your opportunity to create that culture. When you look at your organization and say, shucks, we're not where we should be. But where do you want to be? And what are you going to do about it? As a leader, you have the opportunity to influence. You have the opportunity to take this crisis and flip it around and make it better for you personally and for your team. And that always starts with employee engagement. So this is what we'll be looking at Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro on the 27th. And as I say, as we start to plan, well, not start to plan, we've been planning a while now, but as we continue to plan, we continue to be excited as we, behind the scenes in terms of the software we're going to use. And yes, it's going to be a virtual event. And the story of Conversation Over Coffee, it's a story of just doing it. It's a story of really, it's an idea I've had in my head for a while, and it was just swimming there. And procrastination. And I really had a fear. After I realized that, I kept asking myself, what if I do this event and nobody shows up? What if I do this event and it's a loss? And one day something just kicked me and said, Charlene, just do it. Just do it. And that I did. I got my flyer. I made my own flyer in Canva. I learned how to use Canva. I sent it out to some folks that I know, some clients, and I made my bookings. And within a week, we were sold out. So that is a lesson for all of us. Even in this time, we decided that we will continue to celebrate our 2nd anniversary. It's been 2 years since I took that leap. It's been 2 years when I got that kick and said, just do it. And that's a lesson for me and for us all. As we celebrate our 2nd anniversary, I invite you to join us in this celebration. Our 1st anniversary was a fantastic celebration. Yes, we had cake. Yes, we had music. I don't think we'll have any virtual cake this time, but definitely we'll have some music to celebrate. And in there, we're going to share with you some information that will be so useful for you during this period that you will know that you will get value. So in there, you will have an opportunity to register for some free webinars that Janice Sutherland will be announcing at that event. You'll also have an opportunity to win a coaching session from her. You'll have an opportunity to win a space and coaching from Conventus Consulting. You will have, once you register, you will receive a free ebook on a free e-guide, I should say, on team engagement and performance, how you improve team engagement and performance. You also will receive an ebook on published articles, published content by Francis Wade. So we do have a lot in store for you. We have to make sure we add value every time. And we continue to be excited as we gear up and as we coordinate and as we plan, how are we going to take this thing virtual to make sure that you have a fantastic experience. Conversations watchwords are: 1, we seek to engage you, and 2, we seek to inform you. So we always bring fresh ideas. Our engagement, we are using a platform that will allow you to engage with one another. And thirdly, we speak to inspire. Our job at the end of it is to inspire you to be a better version of yourself, to give you enough information, to give you that aha moment that you can go back to work, that you can go back to your team and be engaged with yourself, yes, first, and also inspired to make a difference. Now, how sweet is that? So join us on the 27th of May online for Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene Pedro. So I'm looking forward to see you guys here. Ciao now. See you guys later.